said, "I'm pleased to contribute whatever I can to the defeat of Count Washur, me lords and me lady. I think the best way to experience how I disappear and later reappear is to do it with me." Marcello smiled like a child being offered the forbidden fruit. And Mordecai, in a boisterous voice I hadn't heard since before Count Washur's black elephants crashed through the gates of Irele, said, "That would be wonderful." He and Marcello stepped closer to Carlton. I mimicked their actions. Marcello reached out to hold my hand, the golden serpent and dragon of his promise ring sparking to life in a glow for a fleeting instant. "Excuse me, Count Bondry, may I tag along as well?" I didn't have to turn to know who spoke. Sir Lancelot's tenor matched his petite owl body. No one I'd ever met sounded like him, both in his tone and unmatched intelligence. "Of course you may join us, Sir Lancelot," Marcello said, and then, as an afterthought of respect, "if that's agreeable to you, Carlton." "Yes, me lord." "Oh, wonderful," Sir Lancelot said, as he abandoned his perch at the sunlit windowsill. He landed on my shoulder with the grace of a pygmy owl that knew more of etiquette than perhaps even Mother. "I've long wanted to experience disappearing magic. I've seen it done many times, of course, by many magicians, but not one of them thought to take me along, as if I were no more than an animal." I chuckled. It was an absurd thought. Sir Lancelot was less an animal than many humans I knew. "There was this magician I met once, when I lived with the great Bardelli. He was travelling and stopped for just 2 nights at the house. He used to disappear into his trunk. Can you imagine that? The disgrace of it. A magician relying on a tool instead of developing his own magic. Well, he used this trunk to put on magic performances. That was how he earned his way, you see, putting on shows for the masses. Quite humiliating, if you ask me. A magician should have a sense of dignity, no matter what circumstance he's in." Sir Lancelot's feathers ruffled at the thought of such an affront to the name of magic. "This man, his name was Tommaso Giardo, lugged this big trunk to the parlour, just to show the great Bardelli his trick." Needless to say, Bardelli was unimpressed. He was a true magician. He used tools to suit his needs, like all magicians do, but never to replace the development of his own magic. So, Tommaso got in his trunk, closed the lid, and asked one of the servants to open it. Of course he was gone when the lid was opened, and, you can imagine, he returned once it was closed again. Very basic, very boring. Still, he performed this for us several times. The 3rd time— "Sir Lancelot, perhaps you might save the rest of the story for Clara's magical history studies," Marcello said, ignoring my plaintive look. Yes, of course, you know me, Count Bondry. Once I get going, sometimes there's just so much to say. I have a perfect memory, and I never forget a single thing, not even one word. I remember the name of every single person I've ever met, even those I wish I could forget." "Yes, Sir Lancelot, I'm aware," Marcello cut him off. "That's one of the many things that makes you so special." Sir Lancelot beamed, and I secretly applauded Marcello's smooth handling. We all took another step closer to Carlton. "So, how do you want to do this, my boy?" Since Mordecai was older than most people alive, everyone was a boy or a girl to him. "I've never taken anyone with me before. I imagine it might be best if you all hold on to me. It will make the connection stronger." "Wait, is there something I need to do?" Was this yet another instance of my magician teachers forgetting to explain things? Even though they were holding to their promises and finally teaching me in concrete terms, they still expected me to catch on quickly and skipped over the instructions due a novice like me. Carlton's smile was kind. He was a great improvement over Irele's butler, Robert, who always behaved as if I'd offended him with a bad odour. "Lady Clara, it should be sufficient for you to intend to come along with me." I smiled back at Carlton and did my best to ignore the "should be" in his statement. My life was one possibility of success after another, with just as great a possibility of failure. "Better than explain how it is. Let's do it." Now Carlton sounded